Going on, dudes and dudettes? Get into a lot of stuff real quick. I know it's been a few days, but Josh Hart is supposedly trying to recruit Paul George at this Fortnite convention thing that they had. Obviously, it's a weird video game I've never even played, but a lot of NBA players do, and supposedly Paul George also does. We knew Josh Hart did, and I'm guessing he's trying to recruit him. ESPN reporter asked Paul George what he would think about playing with Josh Hart as the Lakers and not just Fortnite next year, and of course he had no comment, but we'll see. It's definitely interesting. Already looks like he has good chemistry, at least with one of the guys, and seems like he got chemistry with a lot of young guys as well. So let's keep that going. Then we also have Toia. I hope I'm saying your name right, buddy. He actually committed to USC. I believe he won't be in uniform for 2 more years, so he's like a 2021 player, which is pretty crazy, in like 2 or 3 years. But he's listed as a defensive lineman, but could play offensive line as well. I think he plays both in high school, but usually you do that. You're a two-way player in high school and then you choose one, but USC has him as defensive lineman. So hopefully, I mean, he's already 6'3", over 300 pounds, and he's already just finished his sophomore year, going to be a sophomore, which is pretty crazy. So let's get into some other stuff real quick. Alright, and so the World Cup, to see who gets to host it in 2026. North America won the bid, so I don't know if the World Cup is going to be in all of Canada, USA, and Mexico, or they're going to choose in a future date which one of those 3 gets to host the World Cup during that time. But it'll be pretty crazy if it is all 3, because then you kind of have to choose a certain area where all the games are going to be played so they're actually in the same time zone, because it would be pretty crazy to have teams travel from Canada then to maybe in LA, or then to a New York, and then back to Mexico for certain things, and dealing with crazy time differences all around. So that'll be tough, but if it's all of them, maybe you should stay on the West Coast, especially during that time, because it is better weather. Maybe in the Mid East as well. Not the Middle East, Michael. I know who you are who thinks the Middle East was that close, but no. And we also have, they had a list of the top 10 coaches of college basketball, and somehow Mike Krzyzewski of Duke is number 3. I think you can compare him and Jay Wright of Villanova recently, just because they both have at least 2 titles within the last 6 to 7 years. But with him behind Tom Izzo, who hasn't won since the early 2000s, and yeah, you've had a couple teams make it to the Final Four, maybe close to it, but they still haven't won since then, and yet you're ahead of Coach K, who's won 2 in the last 5 to 6 years. It's kind of crazy in my opinion. I think Tom Izzo should be a little bit lower on that level, because some of those coaches behind even Coach K had won 1 or 2, even in most recent history. It's pretty crazy that he would be that high, but we'll see how this goes. Obviously, it's someone's opinion, not everybody's. And congrats to a former USC defensive lineman signing with the Raiders. It seems like a lot of ex-USC players go to the Raiders or to Seattle just because of the ex-USC head coaches. They always at least give them a chance. So it's pretty cool. It's only 1 year. So good luck to him, not the Raiders. And then we also have Alex Caruso. He's a 2-way player for the LA Lakers. He made it to the USA World Cup team for basketball, I'm pretty sure. At least he's getting an opportunity. They always have these guys who always have stayed in the program for USA, just to see who's able to make it and who they can rely on, whether it's for younger teams or going into any type of World Cups, or any type of cup that they're going to win before the Olympics start. So congrats to him. We'll see what he does. Hopefully he can make it. If not, then I'm sure there's a lot of good players that the USA will have, and hopefully continue to dominate the world basketball going on in the Olympics. So the Lakers basically have 2 options with the Luol Deng contract, which has 2 more years on it. You could waive him, so you have to pay him back over the next 4 to 5 years, so it'll be about $8 million a year until then that you'll have on your books, but it's better than having what he has now, which is like 16 to 18 million for the next 2 years. But you never know, they might do that if they have no traders to want to come and pick him up with one of their young guys. If they still want to do that or not, or if they want to wait another year, then he would just stretch out his contract again next year. Hopefully somebody else picks him up, but that's really only two ways: trade him or waive the contract and pay it over the next few years. And surprising Reggie Bush news, I thought it would be him signing, but he is getting a $12.5 million lawsuit towards him for the better, because he won that case against the St. Louis Rams at the time, where their stadium was pretty much weirdly set up, and then he ended up having a freak knee accident towards the sideline and ended up slipping and injuring himself. So, you know, good for him, I guess, getting his payback against them. I'm assuming he won't be signing with them anytime soon, but luckily some positive news towards that, because it was a pretty freak accident that ended up happening a few times as well to a couple other guys. And of course, Kobe had to come out with news that of all people, Golden State Warriors tried to persuade him to make an NBA comeback, pretty sure within the last year or two. It would have been crazy just because during Kobe's last game, he looked nothing like even what he did 2 or 3 years before that physically. Like, he just did not look the same at all. So I don't know how he would be able to prepare himself physically and mentally to come back, and especially not for a team like the Lakers. And why would he go to Golden State when he's always had, you know, bad feelings towards them? So that was kind of weird. There's this supposedly diss track that's going on from Lonzo Ball. I have not heard any of his rapping and stuff, but apparently this one was a diss towards Kyle Kuzma, his teammate, and I think Kyle Kuzma's reaction was he was going to punch him the next time he sees him. I'm sure it's all nice play and games and stuff right now, but I mean, once you're getting more of this diss stuff going on, it's going to eventually lead to other bad stuff, and hopefully it's done before or even after a season and not during the season, and then the whole season is basically lost, kind of like the D'Angelo Russell and Nick Young fiasco that happened. But hopefully that doesn't affect their future plans coming up. Hopefully they can just get by it and it is just joking around. And then that last pick of LeBron James in a Lakers uniform going against Kyrie, who is with the Celtics now. I mean, after seeing that, it's obvious that he has to come at least for 1 or 2 years while Kyrie Irving is still there. Even though he's not going to sign the extension to be with the Celtics, you at least got to see that matchup 2 or 4 times. They only play each other twice, so within the next 2 years, and maybe a finals appearance, that would be awesome, because that picture looks pretty awesome. So thanks again, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Pretty nice warm day today, so stay safe out there. Put on a bunch of lotion. Stay in the shade. Drink lots of water. Have a great rest of your week.